Hi there, this is Clovis from Kinematic Lab. In this tutorial we will learn how to use the dots grid object. So let's open the UI Toolkit interface. So first I click on this button and I click and drag in the viewport. You see that when I move the mouse the grid size changes and the dots adapts, and when you release the mouse button the object is done and you can create other grids, and you right click to stop. So I will keep this grid, and in this grid rollout you will find all the parameters to control the grid size and divisions. So you have the length and the width to change the grid size, and when you change the size you see that the number of division changes. That's because the distance between each dot is already setted here with the length and width distance. So you can change these two values. Let's say I want to have 12 units. So now when I change this length and width, they are all separated by this value. Okay, and the offset option is checked by default, but you can disable it and the dots are now aligned. You see the difference. Now the mesh type. In this rollout you will find the parameters to control the dots aspect. So you have here 5 options to choose the type of dots you want. It can be a circle like that, a square, a sphere, custom object, or symbols. So each one has their own parameters to change the radius, the number of segments, the size with the length, with the radius, the segments for the sphere. So it can be an external mesh. So if I create a mesh like that and pick it in the custom option here, this box is now the dots. Okay, so you can change its size, and each time you change the object here, its properties, it's going to be reflected on the grid itself. And the last option is to use the symbols. So this time you have a list here where you can add external objects. So I prepared some list of objects here, and I will show you with some of them. So with these ones, for example. So I select my grid, okay, which is here, and I add some object with the plus button, and I will add these objects. So they are placed on the grid and you can change the size. Now let's see how it works with the map rollout. In this rollout you can find the parameters to affect the dots using a map, using some map values. So with this button I will open the material map browser and choose the map I want to use. So I will try with a noise map, but it can be anything, a bitmap sequence as well. The edit button will open the map here in the slate, so I can change its properties. So I will adjust the size, and you see that I already have some results here on my scene. It is changing. I will change a little bit these values, make it sharper. Okay, and I will increase the dot size to have something better. That's it. The X button here removes the map, so it's not affected anymore with a map. And you can change the percentage here It's a sort of multiplier to multiply the map value. So you see that when I use the symbols here, a symbol is chosen in the list depending on the map value from 0 to 255. So basically the first one in the list is 0 and the last one is the maximum 255. So all the objects between the first one and the last one are going to be all the values between the minimum and the maximum pixel value. So I can multiply this result with the percentage, and if I check the size option here, we see that now the maps not only affects the choice of the symbols, but it affects the size of the symbols. So if I change the phase here, maybe it will be easier to see if I change the size, and I animate the phase, and you see that some of them changed their size. So I can show you the result with some circles, for example. And now it's pretty clear that all the dots are changing their size. You can change the position in z-axis. So if I check this, I have to multiply it by the position z here that you can see in the mesh type rollout. So when I animate my map, you see the changes, and it can be added to the size as well. Okay, you can affect the 8 value. So the 8 value is like an extrusion from each dot, so it works on the circles, the square and the sphere, but you have again to change this value to multiply the result and use this to adjust. And you can do both size and 8 and Z position. The vertex color option changes the vertex color of each dot, so you can use a vertex color map in the shader to affect the color or the opacity, and you have to click this button to show the result here. So if you have a shader, let's say a standard applied, and have like something like a mix in the diffuse, you can use a vertex color map in the mix amount here, and it's gonna blend between these two colors. That's it. So I'll remove that. And in this object, like all the other UI Toolkit plugins, you already have some material IDs. So if you choose the predefined dot mesh like the circle, square, sphere, the material IDs are always the same. It's gonna be 1. But if you choose a custom mesh like the cube I picked, or some symbols, the material IDs will be the one that is set on your source object. So let's say I want to choose these objects instead of these ones, so I will remove these objects and add these little circles. So I think it's these, yes. And I will apply a multi-sub object with 2 let's say this one, with 2 material ideas. So you see that now some of them have a different material idea. That's because one of them has a different idea. So this one is set to 2, and the other ones, even this one has a 6, this one is 5, etc. But they are all black here because there is nothing there. So I can apply this one maybe, and that's it. You have some beautiful different colors here, and it's all changing with our noise map. So that's it. See you in the next video. Cheers.